need to understand that it is a brain body disconnect. Hassan, till today, can give you a very blank expression on his face sometimes. You might, somebody who's speaking to him, you might even think he's not listening to you, but you'll figure out sooner than later that he's probably one of the most observant people around in the room. He's been listening to everything, he's been noticing everything. So the moment you sort of come to terms with that, I think you start presuming competence in the child. And for me, that's the big deal. That's the big deal. Whether or not you use a letterboard, whether you use a keyboard or not, whether you do a program or not, my only plea would be that every single child like Hassan, an adult like Hassan, uh, is listening, thinking, feeling, speaking in their own way. If we don't get it, we have to bridge that gap. We can't presume incompetence. That's injustice. That's unfair, right? To me, what's most important is how much work goes into being real and making the world a better place for our children, right? So almost everything that I do, I try to bring my most authentic self into it and try to give it my 120%. So we leave something great behind.
Absolutely. And how important
Yeah.
do you think that is? Thank you so much for sharing this. I did actually write your your achievements, your bio down in that sense. So thank you so much. And again, apologies for throwing the question out there on that sense. I love the fact that you said everything that you do is to be real and to have
Yeah.
that meaning behind it. How important do you think that
Yeah.
is whenever you're looking at something, kind of work wise, family wise?
It's becoming more and more challenging by the day, simply because there's just so much going on in a very different way in the world today. Of course, there's a lot of goodness going on, but I feel like there's this huge effort to just blend in, to just do everything in a certain trend or in a certain fashion. So being real can be looked at as not blending in sometimes, or can be looked at as oh my God, what's this person thinking? So it can be challenging, but we try our best to look at the intention behind what we're saying, what we're doing as a family. Is this for us? Is this not for us? Is it okay to let go of something? I think those are things that sort of keep us aligned and anchored, I feel, in anything we do.
Absolutely, and that
Yeah.
terminology you use, anchored, you're absolutely right. And I think having everything that I've kind of since I guess even before I got my diagnosis for dyslexia at the age of 36, I knew there was always something. When I was in business, I'd always go into schools and speak to, to try and give back that side of it. And I didn't realize until the kind of what I wanted to do within kind of the community, I guess, was to
Hmm.
not just give back, but try and make a little bit of a difference. But for me, it was almost what was
Yeah.
my why? Why am I doing this, and how can I serve? And I think
Yeah.
those things help when things get really tough. To
Yeah.
really understand that.
Absolutely. Yeah, what makes you show up at the end of the day, right? So for me, you are absolutely right. The why matters so much. I think the how follows. There's a lot of options about the how today, which is where I think we're really blessed as a generation. I think there are lots of people in the past who had such a great why, but they spent their entire lifetime figuring out the how. But we've got so much going on about the how, but I feel like we're grappling with the why.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think sometimes I know from my own personal experience, I overthink things so much, and
Yeah.
I work best when I simplify something. And
Hmm.
I know it's that your why. So I have my why and I hold on to this, but that the how, you're absolutely right. Sometimes you can get, you know, really kind of bogged down by it, thinking, okay, well, how do you do this? But simplifying something, and it could be the
Yeah.
smallest thing that, like a flower, like a seed, can then start
Yeah.
growing into something else. And that's kind of how I
Absolutely.
and and it's true to not, you know. sometimes you feel that you need all the answers.
Mm,
And I feel I'm still learning so much about myself as well as
mm.
the work that I do as well.
Brilliant. I mean, I've been trying to emulate what you do, Darren, and it's phenomenal. I remember how you got swamped with messages, like some 10,000 messages when you started asking people if, hey, do you have a story? I don't think you were ready for that kind of a storm out there. My heart really went out to you that day because you were literally responding to every single message the way I see it. So it's phenomenal. It's
It-
phenomenal.
it's phenomenal. It's humbling, and then
Yeah.
then you go through so many different emotions because you then think to yourself, oh my goodness, how do I serve these people and how do I get back to them?
Mm,
Because the visible messages that are seen on the
yeah.
social side of it are one thing, but that's only
Yeah.
a small percentage because it's the emails, it's the texts, it's the calls, it's all the other
Yeah.
things. And then I started thinking,
Yeah.
how if this is just one channel of someone wanting to talk and share their story, is there enough support out there for people? And then it's you realize it's a bigger, it's much. I've always thought this is much bigger than what I'm doing, and I think how can we serve and let people understand and share incredible stories like Hassan, which we will be sharing.
Yeah. Yeah. Honored to be here today, Darren.
So let's talk about your incredible son. So I first we first connected on LinkedIn on social media platform, and I saw the incredible post that you put out. Um, and if it's okay, there's a
Hmm.
post that you put out on one of the social media platforms, and I'd like to read it back if that's okay.
Please.
And
Uh,
then what we'll do.
Absolutely.
I thought what we would do then is share to our listeners and viewers Hassan's incredible stories. Is that okay?
100%.
Wonderful. So to give people who's listening and watching this just some context, I
Hmm.
should put this post out. I think it was a few months ago, and it really kind of
Hmm.
resonated with me massively. So I want to share this with you. Aishu writes this less as a mum of a 9-year-old minimally speaking child on the autism spectrum, and more as an ally who advocates that millions of children like my son are thinkers, if they are not speakers. Autism comes in various formats. Remember, if you have met one child on the spectrum, you have only met one child on the spectrum. Each version of autism is different. One common thread throughout that connects all of these beautiful people is their kindness, their purity at heart, their intelligence, which is often misunderstood, misinterpreted, and heavily underestimated. One such individual is Hassan, who has spent many years of his life trying to communicate with a heavily discredited body. Only recently, with a ton of effort, he had a breakthrough. Hassan and many individuals like him are extremely competent. They are listening, thinking, and feeling all of the time. Hassan now uses his gross motor skills to communicate openly through a letterboard. A simple 26 letter board helps him speak his mind through his fingers. Hassan, who was recently celebrated, and it was a few months ago, his 9th birthday, 8 years of it was nothing but pure underestimation. Struggling and sensory outbursts, the last year has been like a rebirth. Hassan wakes up one day and decides that he wants to write a rap song. He did he did it in one letter at a time. He typed out a 404 word rap. He calls it GIF wrapped, and it's very clever how the GIF wrapped is written. If you when you check this out, you'll be able to see this. And let's be real, this left us speechless. What was what was the feeling? I'm going to play the rap now for people. What was the feeling when that actually happened?
Darren, like I said, I struggle every single time I try to articulate this. I am still speechless because this person spent 8 years letting people guess every decision of his life, right? The clothes he wore, maybe he didn't like them at all. The shoes he wore maybe weren't comfortable at all, right? We were just guessing as parents. um, so to see that we came through, it was a process. This didn't happen overnight, right? So it wasn't like we just woke up one morning and we realized, oh my God, he can type. No, it wasn't like that. It's a process. We stumbled upon this through a friend of ours, a very dear friend of ours, who we are very grateful for. And we realized that this concept of, oh my God, his brain is intact. He's been listening. He thinks and he feels exactly like us. What he's really going through, what autism, and let me say one thing up front, Darren, is I'm speaking as a mom today, right? I am not an expert in any way. I am not evangelizing a program in any way. I am not teaching anything in any way. I am simply speaking my experience as a mother, right? Which is unique to me. So I'm going to take a step back and tell you that. So we came across this whole concept, and we were like, then we started thinking that, technically Hassan has been responding to us with his body, right? He has been showing me cues as a mother that, oh my God, I get you. I know what you're talking about, but we think of it as dysregulation. We think of it as, oh my God, I don't know what flopping the body on the ground means. I don't know, right? I have no idea. So it was like decoding for me. And then we came across, we worked hard on the program. So we need to understand that it is a brain body disconnect. Hassan, till today, can give you a very blank expression on his face sometimes. You might, somebody who's speaking to him, you might even think he's not listening to you, but you'll figure out sooner than later that he's probably one of the most observant people around in the room. He's been listening to everything, he's been noticing everything. So the moment you sort of come to terms with that, I think you start presuming competence in the child. And for me, that's the big deal. That's the big deal. Whether or not you use a letterboard, whether you use a keyboard or not, whether you do a program or not, my only plea would be that every single child like Hassan, an adult like Hassan, uh, is listening, thinking, feeling, speaking in their own way. If we don't get it, we have to bridge that gap. We can't presume incompetence. That's injustice. That's unfair, right? So, to answer your question, we as a family, and by the way, I need to give credit to my husband for that blog as well, because we wrote it almost like worded it together. We have a lot of brainstorming and stuff going
Beautifully
on at
written.
home.
Absolutely beautifully written.
Yeah, so he contributes to that. And of course, this is my family's voice. I mean, I might be the face on this particular show, but it's my daughter, my husband, and me constantly cheerleading Hassan. And how much he does for us back is just incredible. So it's a process. I'm speechless about it. And he is a completely different person from who I thought he is. For the longest time, I was very sad when I got to know about autism as a mother. I couldn't be happier today. I think he's just so humorous. He's funny. He's curious. He questions the world around him. He's fierce. So I couldn't have asked for anything better.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And like I said, when I was reading that back, I actually got quite something in my throat, because it is so beautifully written, because there's so much emotion with
Yes.
this. And following your post and the the recent posts that you've done as well from that. But I just want to share with our listeners and viewers the incredible video. So please sit back and have a listen to this.
Call him H. H likes good people, stories, and travel. H can hear. H can listen. H can question. H can learn. What works with H is some trust, love, and laughter. Next time you see me, try trusting my words, not my body. Unopen the gift, they say. My parents and sister were delighted that day when they saw me first. Must have been a feeling of bliss, like quenching one's thirst. They always see me as a gift, but I write this rap to help the world go through tiny shifts. Let's talk about this gift, me and my minions in the autism army. Listen, is this open? No, it is wrapped. Is it pretty? No, it is not. Is it fancy with a shiny bow and colorful tissues? Oh no, I hear it's dull and has issues. Is it nice and tight? It looks loose and clumsy. That's not an ideal sight. Is it something you'd proudly flaunt? Oh boy, in a world of glittery rappers, this one would haunt. I know this is all about the rapper. Now let me tell you what's inside this rapper. The gift inside is such a trickster, opposite of dull, clumsy, and loose, mister. So what is invisible to the world around us? We scream in silence, waiting for people to look beyond the rapper and find us. I vent here, my friends, to tell you that gold can come wrapped in a dark trash bag sometimes, and then open it up, we beg. Yup, that's a tantrum, they say. Yup, rip me open from the rapper, I cry. Identify shapes and colors like a preschooler, they sigh. You see my rapper and think I am deaf. Some think I don't listen, many think I know nothing. And yes, I am invisible to many too. Being underestimated, feeling excluded, used to be my life. Today I can tell for sure I tore open the rapper and found a new life. Wonder how I did that. See, it takes a wild family that believes in their bread. Trust my words beyond my body and I glow, thus pulling me up from an all-time low. I scream out loud with my fingers today, asking you to look beyond the rapper, if I may. We are the Autism army, you see. We need just chances before you judge us, please. Or even rate us or mark us in red, or delete us in a jiffy. And yes, we are either the rapper or the gold. Decide which one is true before this rap gets too old.
Wow. Watching
Thank
that,
you, Darren.
absolutely. When I first watched that, I was speechless. And I love the statistics at the back that kind of really kind of backs up everything about this and how challenging some of these things can be for individuals with autism. What has he gone on since that kind of that journey that he's done from that? He's continued to be even more creative, hasn't he? Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, it feels almost like he had so many things to say and he was just waiting for all these things to happen. It almost feels like, he doesn't really sit and think for a really long time before he types. Like, I wonder about that. It almost feels like, oh my God, and he wants to get it out. It feels like his fingers are slow for his mind, right? Obviously, because he goes one letter at a time. So it's a time consuming process. But he will be very persistent. His body might throw a gazillion distractions his way, and he might be stimming and he might be flapping and he might be moving, but he wouldn't give up. So to me, it almost feels like he has so much to offer. And just even before this rap, if you don't mind me reading one thing to you,
Love you too.
one thing that just threw everything out of the window for me, like no form of disbelief about my son, right? I mean, because see, let me track back a little bit and tell you, Darren, as parents, when we get a diagnosis of autism for the child, right, we start getting conditioned ourselves in many ways. Fortunately or unfortunately, there's a certain wiring that happens. You get a ton of documents given to you which tell you the number of things your child can't do, right? So just imagine the diagnosis is like 3 years of 4 years of just hearing one doctor after the other telling us what my son can't do, or schools telling us what the child is not able to do. I'll still never forget that I went to Hassan's kindergarten class, and I broke down in one of those meetings because they had called me to show me his books. I mean, and they turned pages and pages and pages, and every single page said refuse to color, refuse to color, refuse to color. And I just broke down and I said, can somebody in this room tell me what he can do? I'm done listening with what he can't do. Can somebody please tell me what he can do? And then I came back home with this really heavy heart with my husband, and we did not know what autism is. And let's be honest, we didn't know anything about autism. We didn't know there'll be such a thing in our lives, right? So we're starting from like a clean slate, nothing. And then you start receiving all this, and then somewhere deep down, you start thinking, oh my God, this child cannot do these things, right? To break out of that is the biggest win. I don't know. I think it took this tremendous friend who told me about this program, and then a lot of similar people in the community, for me to witness that this is possible for Hassan, and for me to believe that this is possible for Hassan, right? So I think presuming competence, and the whole concept of just being able to believe that this child can, is the first step to anything. So I just want to read, this is like a 4 or 5 line thing that he wrote even before the rap song. And to me, this was a defining moment. This day was defining in many ways for me. So I held the letterboard to him. I said, so we usually like spend Saturdays and Sundays writing stuff. So so the way we do it is we set the mood for it. We put like a hang drum beats in the background. He likes like a rhythmic beat in very low volume, very low. And then he sits on his couch and I'm holding the letterboard to him. And the only thing I always ask him is, if you were to write something today, what do you want to write about? Right? So that's all I ask him. And then he puts questions I have. That's what is the title. So we ask him then, oh my God, so is this like a title? What is it? And then he says, okay, so keep going. And he says, I wonder if butterflies know that they are colorful. I wonder if there are many Hassans in many worlds. I wonder if birds and animals can use the letterboard to communicate like me. I wonder if the waves have messages for humanity. I wonder if time is a thing for animals. I wonder what my therapy dog Lester thinks when he meets me. I wonder if the week starts on Monday, why not on a Thursday? I wonder if I should stop with this, or ask one last question. Clear minds can have confused bodies. Do you agree? I wonder.
That literally got goosebumps listening to that. What that the amount of depth in those questions, and asking. One of the things, I guess, as a child, and I think we lose as an adult, is asking a lot of questions, and asking why. What, having that depth of those questions at such a young age is, I think, is just truly remarkable. Like asking, do you think butterflies know that they're colorful?
I'm glad you got that. That's my favorite one.
It just,
I can't get over that.
Like, then I start thinking about where their eyes are positioned, and do they know, and do they not? It opens up a whole new world, and I think that's the most beautiful thing, is that you're having a glimpse into Hassan's world, in how he perceives the world, and I think that is the most beautiful thing, and it just seems like a gift in the sense of everything that he now writes. And don't get me wrong, it's a struggle to do that, but everything he writes, you're learning more and more, not just about more about Hassan and how he sees the world, and you don't get that from most people, because most people will keep what they have inside and not be curious in that sense. So
Yeah.
but that definitely
It's
jumped out at me.
Yeah, it is, right? So this is before the rap. And then we started doing this more and more. And then we were like, oh my, but I didn't expect a rap, to be honest. Like, I had nothing to do with music at all in my life. So, I mean, I love music, but no, never have I ever thought about a rap in my life. So I'm like, what is he thinking? So, and he's very clear. He started, and there was this point where he watched a movie which is based on a real Indian rapper, and it's called Gully Boy. And he started watching that movie. We started playing those songs at home, and then we took him for a haircut one day, and we said, "What kind of a haircut do you want?" And he said, "Like a rapper." I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" So, like, see, think about it. He never got to decide how his hair should look or what he should wear for 8 years. So we started talking about all these things, and he said, "Like a rapper." And then I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but yeah, we'll go get a nice haircut. And then I told the stylist that he says he wants it to look like a rapper. And then we come back home, all this is going on. The only prompt again that I gave him is I said, hey, Autism Acceptance Month is like 3 months away, 4 months away. If there's something you want to do for that, let me know. Like, that's something you can think about, right? And then we like casually started talking about it. And then he says, I want to write an autism rap. I'm like, okay. And then I still didn't think it's going to be like this big. I thought, okay, he might write something. Maybe we'll figure out something. I don't know. We had no idea. And then when he started writing, he wrote it across weeks. So it's 404 words. So he wrote it across weeks. So it would be a running Word document. So right now, Hassan's actually on a Bluetooth speaker. Sorry, Bluetooth keyboard like this. So he types, can move around, and he types, and it comes in on my Word document here. So we'd keep a running document, and we saw like, okay, where is this going? Keep going, keep going. The only thing I say is keep going, and all of that. And then when it was over, he put that full stop. He put the period, and then I was like, "That's the end, isn't it?" And then he was like, "Yes." He says, "Or YES kind of a thing," and then we left it. We let it be. We just let it sit there for a while. And I must mention, I'm very grateful to Kind Theory. He writes for a nonprofit in Texas called Kind Theory. They're one of the most remarkable teams we've ever come across. Hassan is an empaneled blogger for them. He's a paid content contributor for them. And then one thing led to another, and they had a luncheon happening for celebrating neurodiversity in Texas, and they gave us an invite. And even then, my brain did not connect the dots, right? So I'm like, okay, great. That's a great lunch invitation. We could go. We'll be there. And then my husband was like, isn't that the place for his rap song? I'm like, oh my God, yes, that is. And then again, things went on and on. We didn't find a rapper. I mean, where am I going to go for a rapper, right? So, seriously. So, we didn't find anybody. And then we almost asked him, hey, listen, can this just be a song? Like, can I just get a singer to sing this? Like, are you keen on it being a rap? And he says, no, it's a rap. So we're like, okay, that's another challenge now. So I found this remarkable rapper on Fiverr, very sweet person. I told him that this is my son. He communicates like this. He says it has to be a rap song. I know nothing about rap. So, and then he was again remarkable. I don't know how we get all these nice people in our lives all the time. I really don't know. So he sends Hassan like different types of rhythm and beats for the rap, and he says, let your son choose. So we played 8 different kinds of beats, and we said, could you choose? And then he chose one. He was very clear it has to be that. He worked with the rapper. And then the guy, he was amazing. He sent like 5 different versions. He made edits, like, because some words were not ending well, starting well. It had to sit in a rhythm. And then he did it, and that's what you're listening to. And Kind Theory was very kind to really put up a video for this and bring it all up, and that's it. That's what you're seeing, Darren.
And I think that collaboration, like you said, finding someone who understands and can kind of work in
Hmm.
with Hassan on that sense. And I think it's beautiful how how it said, let Hassan choose, because it's like a masterpiece, really, isn't it? That if you're doing a painting, you want to use a certain canvas or a certain paint, and you want it to look a certain way, and that's it. And it's been remarkable that the family yourselves have helped him along that journey. And I think is Hassan. I bet he's over the moon, isn't he? That he has his own um, rap song, which again is not. And when we're talking about not just creating a song or creating a rap song, we're creating something with depth and meaning. And it goes back to
Yeah.
our earlier conversation when we say what is our why and how can we help and serve our community, and that's doing everything as well.
Yeah, he's very we played in the car all the time. We played it yesterday in the car. So we do this little thing of, "Oh my God, there's this song that's trending. Have you heard about this song?" And then we're like, and then he's wondering, he's sitting at the back, and then we blast this song in the car, and then you'll see him go like that. So it's amazing to see. And his sister captures his expressions. She celebrates him, and I think she puts him in the center of her universe somehow in a lot of things that she does. So and he would do the same for her, I'm sure. So it's beautiful. I can see how happy he is in this version of Hassan. I've seen Hassan sad. It's not that he doesn't become sad today. Of course, he goes through dysregulation today. Of course, he goes through confusion. Communication doesn't take away autism, right? Or the problems that come with autism. But I think it bridges this beautiful gap, and we're in it together now, right? So people say, "Oh my God, has anything changed? Autism is autism. There's no cure for autism." Of course, there's no cure. That's fine. But at least he's not wearing the wrong shoes, right? We're all in it together, and he's comfortable.
When you mentioned the other thing I just want to kind of mention just briefly is you mentioned the time that you went into the school, and there was reams of things, different pages of the book, and they said, didn't do this, didn't do this. I love the fact that you mentioned, well, what is he good at, or what can he do well, and those elements of support are absolutely crucial for anyone in that sense. And it's amazing that Hassan has you as as a family, as parents, collectively, because we do tend to focus. If we took
Mm,
dyslexia, for instance, we think of
mm,
if you looked at anyone that's marketing or anyone that's putting stuff out around
mm.
dyslexia, it would mainly be around kind of the negativity.
Right.
Difficult with spelling, difficult with this, difficult with that side of it, and then there'll be the other sides of it where that we talk about the benefits, or not the benefits, but what you can do. And I think we tend to start with a negative, and then we have to work
Yeah.
our way around to try and find a positive. And what you've so beautifully said is that what are the positives, and let's work with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what it is, right? It is like that. Let's face it. It's horrible. I mean, we have GI issues going on in the body. We gastro issues come, the gut issues come with autism a lot of times. He has a low muscle tone. He started off as a baby with very low muscle tone, but he's come a long way. You can see him in the video. He's worked on his core. He couldn't sit on a swing independently at one point in his life, but today I think he can do rock climbing like faster than a lot of other people I know. So I think Hassan has come a long way, but he's going to have these things to cope with. So our idea of life is to help him figure coping mechanisms, help him build his community, right? I think those two things are incredibly important, because I don't think I'm going to be around to finish the journey with him. And that's the sad part. So So my whole what keeps me determined is what I'm leaving behind. So be it coping mechanisms or community or family members, we're always thinking about that. And we
Absolutely.
can't take that away. I'm not going to say it's so happy, there are no
Yeah.
issues. Of course not.
You mentioned about when certain uh, environments, when Hassan's just about you spend that time on the weekends and you're going to be doing writing,
Yeah.
and you say you put on certain lighting or certain noise to how important has that been on other aspects of Hassan's life or routine? Is that something that is really does help within that side of it?
He loves routines. He loves it. He likes to ritualize his life, right? His meals, his bedtime, his weekends. He likes to get ready, get up, and go somewhere. So we figured a few things, and he answers questions and asks questions through the day with us on the letterboard. So we don't make any decisions for him. He makes his decisions, his meals. He would say, change my curry. I want it hotter. Like it's just mind blowing. So the way it works, Darren, is he communicates through the day with us with everything that he does. It's hard. We have to take time and do it, but we do it. And then he loves to like give himself this time. Ever since he got into this contract with Kind Theory, he's very meticulous about it. So when I say, hey, listen, we're going to write this weekend, I'll tell him in advance. I'll say, we're going to do this, keep your thoughts ready, and I'll be cooking, I'll be doing something, and then we'll go 2 hours later and say, let's do this, we're all here, do you have something to say? And he'd always have something to say.
That's incredible. It prior to using the board, has when did he start using the letterboard?
We started the letterboard journey in February 2022, technically, and then we didn't understand it fully well by then as well. So we had our own issues. I had my own baggage as a mother because this journey needs me to be fully available as a mother, like whole and no preconceived notions, no probability data. Like I had to delete a lot of stuff for me to hold the letterboard for him. So we started in Feb 2022. He was just, we used to read lessons and ask him known questions. Like he was not fully open on the letterboard. But then after that, one thing led to the other. We met a lot of great practitioners. We traveled around the country. We've been to Tampa, Florida. We've been to Virginia. Then we went to Austin, Texas. We did a few intensive programs. And then May 2023 was when we first saw our son communicating openly. He told us what he wanted for his birthday. He told us his favorite color. He said whether he liked summer or winter, day or night. He made a story all in front of our eyes. That's it. So my life is before and after that day. I have two parts to my life. So yeah.
So obviously the letterboard has been so instrumental in
Yeah.
allowing him to communicate, and again,
Yeah.
that connectability for all of you.
Yeah. There's
It
just
sounds
no question. It's the simplest. It's the only thing in my entire journey that asked me to believe in my son. And by then, I was so conditioned not to believe. I had to work like a couple years to believe because it was hard work. And then, so to me, it's the simplest, most elegant solution to really getting to know my son. So what he does, he's performing gross motor skills so that his cognitive side comes through, right? If you put heavy functional motorical demands on this child, you're not going to understand what he's thinking. So we reduce that demand and give room for the cognitive side to shine. That's all it is. Think of it like a seesaw,
yeah.
right? So
I'm trying to imagine for so many years being repressed in the sense of not being able to communicate, And then suddenly, as you mentioned, so elegantly before, that he's continuously writing things and asking questions, and again, the poems and the rap, this side of it, it is almost like, I've not been able to do this, and now I have that freedom to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And I think
Oh,
that
yes.
that
It
is
relieves him. It relieves meltdowns. I don't know. I don't ask me for the science behind it. Like, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know anything about rap. I didn't know anything about autism. I still don't know anything about all of this. But I'm here. I'm experiencing it every single day. I can say that, right? So, one thing I can say for sure, it's crazy how he'll be in the middle of this huge meltdown. It'll be 1 a.m. sometimes, right? And then it'll be huge. And you're wondering, is it a GI thing? Is his stomach troubling him? Like, is he going through a pain? Like, what is it? And then you hold the lettable. He would say something that you never imagined. He would say something about a topic that was completely not in your wildest imagination. He would get it out of his system. He would literally go to bed in 10 minutes after that. This has not happened just once. And that's like a moment where I get goosebumps. I'm like, what happened? I didn't give him a medicine. I didn't do anything else. He said a few things. He got it out of his system. He's off to bed. That's all he wanted. And then my husband and I, we joke about this. And then we're like, in another universe, by now, my husband would have guessed a GI issue. I would have guessed it's a headache. We would have opened the medicine cabinet. We would have like popped some, is there a painkiller that we should give him? What should happen? And then we would have booked appointments the next day to meet his pediatrician. The whole week will be about guessing. And it took him those 5 minutes to communicate and go to bed in 10 minutes. And that's it. He's forgotten about it and he's off to bed and he's fresh the next day.
It just shows the power of communication, doesn't it?
It
to be
is.
able to express how you're feeling or what your thought process are. And I can't even begin to imagine how many thoughts, like I have an immense amount of thoughts on a daily basis, and I write them down and I share these with whoever will listen. Sometimes maybe my beautiful wife, who I literally just talk the ear off, sometimes the most random things, normally during a film or something else like this, and so inappropriate times of just talking. But I just think how curious Hassan is, and how much he wants to get out. And it's almost like we've not even scratched the surface. It sounds like we've not even scratched the surface of how much he wants to get out and how much he can share. And that is, again,
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion.
he's very vocal. He's one of the most vocal people I've seen. He cannot keep things to himself. He has to tell us. And he gives us feedback, by the way. We receive constructive feedback from him. So he'll tell us, he'll say that wasn't right. I was upset that you thought I would, say this or do, like, he'd bring it up and he'll talk about it. He'll give us feedback. He'll ask questions. And one thing I love about him is you cannot get him to do what you want. He'll always do what he wants. So, and I love that about him. Like, that gives me relief because he has a mind which is solid and he would do what he thinks is right. So I really think that's a great quality.
Absolutely, it's that fight inside yourself, isn't it? To believe in what it is that you believe in, and so strongly
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is, that's the right move, and that's what I do, and that does give strength for character. It's such
Yeah.
a young age to have that. That's quite a rarity.
It is.
To be able to do that. What do you see Hassan doing going forward?
It's a great question. I honestly, we're a very, I think we're a very adventurous family. We came almost in the middle of the pandemic. We chose to move halfway across the globe, relocate from India. We've done a lot of resilient things together. We make decisions which I think many people would think twice to make. We Even this whole journey of understanding the letterboard, landed into the US in November 2021 from India. You can imagine how Boston is that time of the year. People always say like it's crazy that time of the year. But we landed, and the first thing I did is I hadn't even found a job by then because I was waiting on some documents and stuff. But I went to Florida just by myself with him. Landed up there to go meet this practitioner, to understand this family and the program and stuff like that. Then, so I feel like we do a lot of resilient, fun stuff together as a family, unexpected stuff. So honestly, I don't expect Hassan to have a plan if he has any of our genes, so, which he does. So I don't expect him to have a plan. But I feel like what we did well is we started this family blog. I don't know, which is what I think you've read as well, which is Unmute. So, which is the topic of today as well. So we write this blog called Unmute, in which we all write. My daughter writes, I write, my husband writes. But the way we write is it always starts with something Hassan told us on the letterboard. So he's the center of that blog, and then we write around it. So we feel like that's a good communication platform for us, because every time we write Unmute, we get clearer with our vision. We do something that is closer to our goal. So, and we do something similar for my daughter. She's amazing in her own space. So, but what we do is, I think each of us have our own little niche that we carve for ourselves. So I don't really have any idea what Hassan's going to do, what his plans are. He I think will continue to write from what I see, because it looks like he finds a lot of relief in that. So I don't think that's gonna stop. But what he does with his writing, sky's the limit.
Quick word from our sponsors. Promova are a one-stop solution for all of your language learning needs. Now, we all know how difficult and challenging it can be to learn a new language, especially if you have dyslexia. Now, this is where they're different, because they are the first platform to introduce a dyslexia mode. And I've got to tell you from firsthand experience, this has been an absolute game changer for me, because I've tried to learn languages for many, many years before in different ways. But the fact that they are now making it available and to assist me in certain ways, I can work through these modules with ease. It has been an absolute game changer. Please do check them out. They are used by over 15 million people across the globe. So they are doing incredible work. There is a 50% discount on the premium version in the link below. Please do click on the link and start your learning language journey.
Picture this: mastering a new language in just 10 minutes a day. Too good to be true? With Promova, it's a reality. We are a one-stop solution for all your language learning needs. This innovative platform has all the tools to create a unique learning plan based on your goals and interests. With Promova, you can learn languages through bite-sized lessons, anywhere, anytime. Learn vocabulary you'll actually use in real life. Polish your speaking skills and train your ear with audio lessons. Dive into books for full immersion. Need some personalized guidance? Our expert tutors are just one click away, whether you prefer one-on-one or group lessons. Achieve your language learning goals with Promova.